The Chinese say all this domestic shame you don't reveal it in public. You don't allow people to know about the family scandal. You have to cover them up. And the Lord God help us. Sometimes as you cover up these things, you bring yourself to trouble, or even other people to trouble. David refused to do that. He even announced it. It's very different from what we used to do things. Remember, David is the king.
The most powerful, most authority 嘅人啊，
伊就是第一有權柄、第一有這個能力嘅人，喺呢個國家。
唔係現在嘅總統啊。
He's not the president of today.
是頂拜王啊。
He's the king of those of ancient times.
咱係王嘅最花是點樣最花呢
？How does a person become a king?
即係how to deal with 點嚟 case 呢
？How does a king deal with such a case?
神一制啊，就提神啊。
Whoever comes to know of that thing will be put to death.
呢個就咩圖
？He would have the right to kill anyone.
神一制嗰個排大字嘅人。
Any person who comes to know of the shameful things that I did, I will kill each one of them and kill all of them.
冇人制啊，我係大字。
So that no one will come to know what I did.
這是王嘅追法嘛。
This is how the kings would handle things like this. But then this guy, David, is very foolish.
冇幾個人制啦嘛。
Only a few people knows about it.
都冇想講出去啊。
He doesn't have even to tell anyone or announce it. He even have to write it down and put it inside the Bible, causing the whole world to know. For you to know and for me to know. This guy is foolish. In the sight of the world, he is the foolish guy, the stupid guy. This year I had a chance to go to the church in Dumaguete together with Brother Alex. And there we met a person who is foolish. A foolish guy. This person is a very popular person in that city. And so he brought me to his own house. His house is bigger than the size of 2 buildings put together. And we look at his factory. Then when I saw his plan, I was so surprised and amazed how big it was. And even have his own vessels just parked outside his plant. He was supposed to pick me up at the airport. And then before he left, the city mayor and the governor went to speak to him. And so he said he was a bit late in picking me up. And this person is of that good reputation. And one time he committed a mistake. He acknowledged to his wife and to acknowledge the whole church. And his friend said, "You are so foolish." Because nobody would ever admit this kind of a thing. But then he told me. He said, "Yes, this person doesn't know. This person doesn't know that after I acknowledged my mistake, I was so at peace." And he told the pastor one thing that he shared with me. He says, "Do you know, Pastor? This is the real pastor. Because everything was done by him. Whatever the church needs, this person does it." This stupid guy. He's not that foolish. He knows that there is one thing that is very important. That if he lost God, then everything becomes useless. David is a foolish guy. He even went to the extent of acknowledging and even wrote down in the Bible the things that he did, causing all the people in the world to know. But it is also the greatest thing in the life of David. Let me ask you, in your life, what is the most important thing? Is God more important, or is your own face more important?
David 為上帝將這個民族都幫落嚟。
David was even willing to sacrifice his own face and reputation for the sake of God. Third thing,
David 為上帝將仇恨都幫落嚟。
David sacrificed or gave up his hatred out of God, for God's sake.
這個世界有三款嘅人。
In this world, there are three kinds of people.
頭一款
First
怪人
is the weird guy.
Weird guy.
Weird guy.
你唔相信？
You don't
你看你
believe
隔壁
that?
這個人看咩？
Look at the person beside you.
你看怪人 weird。
Weird.
你看佢真奇怪，佢看你真奇怪。
You look at him, you find a person weird. He looks at you and find you weird.
會啊！
Is it
你
not?
避去餐館食物件，你看咩？
As you go together, let's say in a restaurant
有
to
人係
eat,
真奇怪哦。
there are some people who are weird
小
there.
小瓜就鹹，小瓜就鹹，小瓜就
They
鹹。
complain out of many and even small things.
有人呢是哎呀，見啊暗讚食暗讚杯唔插人。
For some people, it's okay. They just take in the food even if it's not cleanly prepared.
其實咱每個人都真怪。
Actually, each one of us, we are all weird.
你怪我也怪，
You are weird and I'm weird.
因為咱自己無上文化導向嘅人啊，
Because we grew up with a different background and culture.
所以咱真奇怪啊。
And so we are weird people.
你嘅親手真怪，你知無？
Do you know that your spouse is also a weird
你也
person?
是真怪，你知
In
無
the？same manner, you are also weird.
所以你看咪，
So look,
我哋甲你隔壁人講你真怪，
check the person beside you and tell him or her, you're weird.
但是我聽你。
But then I love you.
但是世界有第二款嘅人，
There's a second group of people, second kind of people in the world.
伊傷害你，但是伊唔是挑工傷害你嘅人，
People who unintentionally hurt you.
伊是無需你嘅人。
These are people who are careless.
可能一句話，
Maybe because of one word
可能
that
一項代
they
志，
said, or probably one thing
我哋
that they
真
did,
艱苦心。
causing you to be very
但
sad.
是伊唔是挑工嘅，
But this person did not intentionally did those
伊
things.
是無需你嘅人傷害到你。
But rather because out of carelessness, he happened to have hurt you.
啊，但係有第三款嘅人，
But then there's a third kind.
挑工傷害你嘅人，
These people are those who intentionally hurt
那
you.
叫做歹人咯。
These are what we call the
挑
bad
工嘅
guy.
挑工嘅，
Because they did it out of
好你艱苦
intention.
嘅。
Because they want to bring a suffering to your
咱嘅
life.
人生當中有所有講係歹人喺你嘅邊頭，
Indeed, in your lives, you have some bad people surrounding
伊
you.
要挑工傷害你。
They intentionally want to hurt you.
掃羅就是大必嘅歹人，
And Saul is that bad guy in the life of
掃
David.
羅一擺一擺全心要解決 David，
Again and again, Saul had the intention of wanting to get rid of David.
好 David。第只有10年嘅時間無厝內通徛，wandering 喺全隊嘅裏面。
As a result, David had to spend at least 10 years wandering, roaming around.
嗱，設數你是 David，
If you were David,
你有兩把嘅機會解決你嘅敵人，
and you had the two opportunities to get rid of this enemy
嗰
of
時你
yours,
係歹，這是歹人嚟
and
哦。
this is the bad guy,
我相信你冇容易放殺這個機會，
I believe you will not let go of this
但
chance.
係 David 冇想，
But David was very
你
different.
兩把放殺這個機會。
For 2 times, he let go of this
你
chance.
記得這樣代志，
You remember one
而
thing.
唔是因為真聽掃羅，
It is not because he loved Saul very
冇
much.
掃羅冇什麼能可愛，
唔是 because there's nothing so lovable about
而兩
Saul.
把無睇掃羅只有一個原因。
There were 2 times that he let go of the chance of killing Saul, and
You
there's
know,
only one reason.
掃羅啊頭頂有耶和華所按立嘅膏油啊！
Because he says on the head of Saul would be the oil that was anointed on him.
我唔係最抌這個人啊，
Thus, I should not touch this
因為這個
person.
人是上帝所按立嘅人啊，
Because this person was also anointed by
為咗
God.
上帝，
And because of God,
而唔敢出手，
he dare not extend his
為
hand
咗
to
上
do it.
帝，
For God's sake,
而將嘅仇恨都崩落嚟。
he abandoned and let go of his enmity.
頭一擺第撒母耳記上24章，
First one is found in 1 Samuel chapter 24.
掃羅多咗3000嘅精兵擊接 David。
Saul came with 3,000 men and was trying to pursue David.
這3000人唔是普通人哦，
And these 3,000 men are no ordinary
呢啲
men,
精兵哦，
but rather they are warriors.
是經過特別訓練嘅哦，
These are people who have gone through
真正呢
special
很
training.
厲害嘅人哦，
SWAT
哦特別嘅部隊哦，
That they are just like SWAT,
當然唔是我哋邊啲款啊
not the Philippine kind of SWAT.
，3000嘅精狗嘅人去接你啊，
3,000 chosen very good men pursuing
但係
David.
真奇妙，
But then something very special
忽
about
然
this.
間掃白多聽，
Saul suddenly had a stomach ache.
喺曠野裏面白多天啊！
In the wilderness, he had this stomach ache.
曠野真侪山洞，
In this wilderness, there's a lot of caves.
掃羅走去裏面解決，
And so Saul went inside to relieve himself.
伊想未到。
But one thing he didn't
David
think
特
about,
別400個人喺裏面。
that David and his 400 men were inside that cave.